Ana Castillo's 1986 novel, The Mikoala Letters, is a story told entirely through expressive letters from the narrator to her friend. Letters that Castillo suggests could be read in several different orders. So what does that mean, several different orders? Several different, this letter than that letter, and like not chronologically necessarily. I assume that's what it is. As they began reading it in class, some students remarked that they found the novel's letter format daunting and its treatment of gender relations as old-fashioned. The professor, however, pointed out that the novel is written in modern-sounding language and addresses issues that still matter today. This is written back in '86, suggesting that the Mikoala Letters has more to say about gender relations than other novels from the same period. More to say about it? We don't know about more. That's a false comparison. Nothing in the text makes that comparison. Is more relevant to contemporary audiences than at first may seem. Okay, that could be, right? Even though it's got some traditional gender relations and daunting format, it is written in a modern sounding language, which means it's perhaps more readable to audiences today. So that's a possibility that seems to be evidenced in the text. Let's just check C and D. Is easier to read than many contemporary novels. No, that's again another false comparison. No text talks about comparison to other novels, even contemporary ones. D, is best understood after multiple readings in different orders. Well, there is some suggestion of that, right? It could be read in several different orders. What it doesn't say is that we would understand it differently or best understand it, which is a very extreme word, if we read it in different orders. There's some suggestion that might be interesting to read in different orders, but best understood, too extreme. B is the right idea in this text. So it has some traditional aspects to it, but it's written in a modern voice, which makes it relevant to contemporary audiences. And not only is it written in a modern voice, they do say it addresses issues that still matter today, which again means even the ideas are relevant to contemporary audiences. B is the answer. Biologist Natascha Bodenhausen and colleagues analyzed the naturally occurring bacterial communities associated with leaves and roots of wild such and such, a small flowering plant. The researchers found many of the same bacterial genera in both the plant's leaves and roots. So the same bacteria were in the leaves, probably at the top of the plant, and the roots. Okay. To explain this, the researchers pointed to the general proximity of Thalliana leaves, the flowering plant, to the ground, and noted that rain splashing off soil could bring soil bacteria into contact with leaves. Okay, so we don't have like this really big plant with leaves here way up high. We actually have in roots down here, right? We have what seems to be a littler plant with leaves that are pretty low to the ground. And when rain comes down, it can splash back up into the leaves. So the plant, the bacteria, I guess, must be associated somehow. Well, it doesn't have to be associated with the plant. It could be associated with the soil. Anyway, it does come up into the leaves, right? So splashing off soil could bring soil-based bacteria from the soil into contact with the leaves. Alternatively, so we got another claim or explanation here. The researchers noted that wind, which may be a source of bacteria in the above ground portion of plants, could also bring bacteria into the soil and roots. Either explanation. So the other is that the wind blowing, right? The wind is blowing bacteria into the soil. So that's explanation 2. This is explanation 1. In either case, the bacteria gets in the soil and the leaves, whether it's coming from above or below. Either explanation suggests that the bacteria comes from the rain or the wind or really the bacteria gets into the soil, right? Either case, it gets into the soil. And from the soil, it gets into the plant. I think that's the only thing we can conclude from both explanations. So bacteria carried by wind are typically less beneficial. No, there's no comparison of the benefits of wind versus the other explanation. Some bacteria in the plant, leaves and roots, share a common source. Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. They share a common source. Now that, in this case, it appears to be the soil, but whatever it is, it's a common source. So I think this is correct. We can conclude that from both explanations. Let's just check C and D. Many bacteria in the plant's leaves may have been deposited by means other than rain. Well, may, that's possible, right? It could have been the wind, not rain. But again, that doesn't really complete the text because we want either explanation. This has nothing to do with either explanation. This is just one explanation. D, the flowering plant leaves and roots are especially vulnerable. No, we don't know how vulnerable they are. That wasn't really the idea here. Like it's very vulnerable or not terribly vulnerable at all. We don't know that. Not evidenced in the text. B is the right answer. So regardless of explanation of source, they do share a common source. That's correct. Violins made by Stradivari and other craftspeople in the 16th and 18th centuries in Cremona, Italy, produce a sound that is considered superior to that of modern stringed instruments. Some experts have claimed that the type of wood used to create Cremonese violins is responsible for their prized sound. So why the wood? Special wood from that area, right? It's kind of like New York City pizzerias who say our best pizza is because of the water. Well, okay, I don't know about that, but a violin depends on the wood, I guess. But modern and Cremonese violins are made of the same kinds of wood, maple and spruce. So wait, here's evidence that this is not necessarily true. The initial claim we had in the text, maybe not true. There's something else going on here because we do have violins that have the same sound, but they're made from different wood, apparently. New analysis, however, now we have another new analysis, has revealed unique indications that the wood in the older violins was chemically treated by the markers, leading researchers to suggest that the treatment causes the sound. Maybe, is that the idea here? Has revealed indicators that the wood in the older violins was chemically treated by the makers, I said markers, by the makers, leading researchers to suggest. So if the wood was treated in the original violins that claimed it was all about the wood, well, then it's not all about the wood because they treated the wood. So suggesting that the treatment causes the sound, or more to the point is that the sound of the original is not due to the wood, right? Because one, they treated the wood of the old ones, and two, the new ones are made of a different wood from a different source other than Cremona, and that has a similar sound. So those are kind of 2 points of evidence that the original claim's not right. I think that's what we want to find the idea of. So A, Cremonese violins probably were not considered superior to other instruments. No, they were considered superior. That's a statement of fact in the background. The sound quality of Cremonese violins results in part from a method the craftspeople used to alter the wood. Yeah, that's probably right. Right? We can't say that for sure because it doesn't tell us whether the sound of a modern violin without that treatment and a different kind of wood also has that same quality. That's just not addressed. So we really don't know this for sure, but it suggests that it's not the wood. It might have been the alteration of the craftspeople that made the difference. So I'm just going to put a question on that. We're going to hold on to that as a possible answer. C, if modern violins were made of wood other than maple or spruce, they likely would sound as good as Cremonese. We have no idea if that's true. Okay. The current process of making violins is the same process that was used centuries ago. We don't know anything about the processes today. We don't know anything about even how the modern ones sound compared to the Cremonese ones. I probably assume people think the Cremonese ones still sound better. So I'm going to go with B. The sound quality might have been a result of the craftsmanship related to the wood, not the wood itself.